In the sun-drenched sprawl of Los Angeles, a triple-headed crisis is casting a long, dark shadow. Forget the familiar glamour. This is a city under siege. An unrelenting combination of skyrocketing homelessness, poverty, and a surge in crime is eroding its very foundation. Reports indicate a 15% surge in violent crimes and a staggering 22% jump in property offenses, telling a story not just in numbers, but in shattered peace of mind. Makeshift tent cities are now a defining feature of the urban landscape, and a palpable sense of fear grips communities. This is a battle for the soul of a city, rewriting the American dream into a daily nightmare for thousands. The City of Angels nightmare, LA's growing homelessness crisis. The streets of Los Angeles, once symbols of glamour and opportunity, have now become a grim testament to the growing homelessness crisis gripping the city. The American dream, once a symbol of endless possibility, is slipping further out of reach for thousands of residents. In 2025, homelessness in Los Angeles surged by an alarming 35%, bringing the total to 195,000 individuals, a staggering 59% increase since 2013. This crisis is no longer an invisible issue confined to certain areas. It has become a defining characteristic of the city itself. Walking through the streets of Los Angeles, one cannot escape the sight of makeshift tent cities stretching for blocks. The sidewalks, once bustling with tourists and street performers, are now lined with people struggling to survive. Skid Row, long known for its high concentration of unhoused individuals, is no longer the sole epicenter of this crisis. The homelessness epidemic has expanded far beyond, reaching into every corner of the city. This has transformed public spaces into open-air shelters, with individuals and families forced to sleep on the streets, in cars, and under overpasses. With an astonishing 59.9% of the homeless population lacking access to basic shelter, a 27% increase from just 5 years ago, the crisis is worsening at an exponential rate. Among those affected are not just the unemployed or those battling addiction. Many of the homeless in Los Angeles were once successful professionals, former entrepreneurs, university graduates, and even individuals with master's and doctoral degrees. The root causes are numerous: skyrocketing housing costs, stagnating wages, mental health struggles, and a breakdown of social safety nets. The average price of a home in Los Angeles now hovers around $1 million, far beyond the reach of most residents. Even those who manage to secure housing find themselves at risk. One unexpected medical bill, job loss, or natural disaster can lead to complete financial ruin. The tragic story of April Galva, a 55-year-old woman who lived in a tent for a decade before finally securing housing, only to lose it all in a wildfire, exemplifies how fragile stability has become. Los Angeles County has also seen a dramatic rise in chronic homelessness, with nearly 48,781 individuals experiencing long-term displacement by 2024. This number represents a sharp increase from just a few years prior, highlighting the persistent and deepening nature of the problem. Children are not spared from this crisis either. Nearly 30,000 children experience homelessness annually in Los Angeles, raising concerns about their future and the long-term impact of such instability on their well-being. The crisis is further exacerbated by the growing number of refugees and undocumented immigrants in the city. As of 2023, Los Angeles County's undocumented population reached an estimated 839,700, a dramatic increase from previous decades. Many of these individuals, caught in legal limbo, lack access to stable employment, housing, and public services, making them especially vulnerable to homelessness. The convergence of this issue with rising crime, gang violence, and an overwhelmed public infrastructure has created a city on the brink of social and economic collapse. The great LA squeeze, the silent assault of poverty. Los Angeles, the city of dreams, is facing a growing nightmare in 2025. This isn't a familiar narrative of Hollywood glamour and beachfront luxury. It's a sobering story of economic struggle, where the once stable middle class is now teetering on the brink of poverty. The city's legendary promise of opportunity is being eroded by an unrelenting combination of inflation, stagnant wages, and an out-of-control housing market. The cost of living has become a brutal gatekeeper, turning the Golden State into a gilded cage for many. This crisis is a silent one, It's a statistical alarm ringing across the city, affecting families, communities, and the very soul of Los Angeles. As the gap between the rich and poor widens, the middle class finds itself squeezed from both sides, forced to make impossible choices. The question is no longer, how do I make it in L.A., but rather, how do I survive? The rising tide of poverty. More than a statistic, the latest data paints a grim picture. Los Angeles County's poverty rate stands at 19.9%, one of the highest in California. This isn't just a number. It represents nearly 2 million people struggling to make ends meet in a city where the median household income is roughly $80,366, according to 2025 projections. While this may seem high, the reality of the city's exorbitant cost of living quickly shatters any illusion of comfort. For a family of four, the annual income needed to avoid poverty, as defined by the California Poverty Measure, CPM, is around $43,990. However, the sheer cost of basic necessities, housing, food, and transportation, makes even a solid income feel insufficient. The poverty line, once a clear boundary, has become a blurry, shifting target that more and more people are falling behind. Housing hell, the great LA squeeze. The single most significant factor driving this crisis is the housing market. In Los Angeles, rent alone can consume a staggering portion of a family's income. A renter in Los Angeles County needs to earn nearly $42 per hour, or $87,000 per year, just to afford the average monthly rent of around $2,182, without spending more than 30% of their income on housing. This is a nearly 3x increase from the minimum wage. The median home price in Los Angeles County hovers around $900,000, with monthly payments for a newly purchased bottom-tier home soaring to over $3,600 in mid-2025. This represents an 87% increase since 2020. This financial reality has created a city of renters, where the dream of homeownership is now a distant fantasy for the majority. Inflation's silent assault, the sinking ship. While housing costs have been the primary driver, relentless inflation is the current that's sinking the middle class. The Consumer Price Index, CPI, in the Los Angeles area has seen a 3.2% increase over the past year. While some may see this as a moderate rise, the devil is in the details. The cost of food away from home rose by 4.6%, and a family's average monthly groceries can now cost between $700 and $1,000. The price of utilities is also up by 7% compared to the national average. When every dollar buys less, families must make difficult choices, cutting back on groceries, delaying medical appointments, or foregoing necessary vehicle repairs. These small sacrifices accumulate, eroding financial stability and pushing families closer to the edge. The job market mirage, working harder for less. The Los Angeles job market presents a complex paradox. While the unemployment rate remains relatively low, wages have not kept pace with the soaring cost of living. For many, a good salary in L.A., considered to be between $100,000 and $200,000 annually, is not enough to live comfortably, especially with family. A recent study found that nearly 4 out of 5 of the Californians in poverty in 2023 lived in families, with at least one working adult. About 43.7% of those in poverty had a family member working full-time for the entire year. The traditional idea of a steady, full-time job as a path to a middle-class lifestyle is becoming a myth. For the working poor, the lack of affordable childcare and high transportation costs only compound their struggles, making it nearly impossible to save money or get ahead. The ripple effect, a city in crisis. The growing poverty crisis has a far-reaching ripple effect across Los Angeles. As families are pushed out of their homes, the number of unhoused individuals and families has become a major crisis. Many who have been moved into interim housing are still waiting for permanent solutions. The housing crisis is also fueling a mass exodus, with a significant number of people leaving California for states with a lower cost of living. This outmigration of the middle class is not just a statistical trend. It's a brain drain and a social calamity, as the very people who power the city's economy and its communities are forced to seek a better future elsewhere. A bleak future? Can the City of Angels find its way? The narrative of Los Angeles as a land of boundless opportunity is being rewritten by the harsh realities of 2025. The city's economic foundations are being tested as the gap between the haves and have-nots grows wider. The middle class, once the backbone of the city, is now its most vulnerable population, suffering under the weight of an unsustainable cost of living. While social safety net programs and housing initiatives are providing some relief, they are often a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. Without a fundamental shift in housing policy, wage growth, and economic strategy, the middle class suffering may just be the prologue to an even deeper poverty crisis in the years to come. The question is whether Los Angeles will be able to reverse this dangerous trend, or if it will forever be known as the city where the middle class went to disappear. LA's crime wave, the Golden City losing its luster. The statistical surge in crime has translated into a tangible atmosphere of fear and uncertainty among Los Angeles residents. Everyday activities that were once taken for granted are now tinged with anxiety. Residents in high-crime areas report being hesitant to walk alone at night, and businesses are investing heavily in private security measures, reflecting a lack of confidence in public safety. Community meetings are dominated by discussions about neighborhood watch programs and demands for increased police presence. The sense of unease is not confined to specific neighborhoods. Even in traditionally safer areas, residents are reporting increased vigilance and a greater awareness of potential threats. Social media platforms and local news outlets are rife with personal accounts of break-ins, carjackings, and assaults, amplifying perception of the city spiraling out of control. This pervasive fear has a cascading effect, impacting local businesses as consumers become reluctant to venture out, particularly in the evenings. The tourism industry, a vital pillar of the Los Angeles economy, is also facing headwinds as potential visitors express concerns about safety. Real estate values in certain high-crime areas have reportedly seen a 5% to 7% decrease in the past year, reflecting the diminishing desirability of these neighborhoods. The psychological toll on residents is significant, with reports of increased stress, anxiety, and a decline in overall quality of life. The vibrant energy that once characterized Los Angeles is being increasingly overshadowed by a sense of insecurity and a yearning for safer times. What's fueling LA's alarming crime spike? Several interconnected factors are likely contributing to the growing crime crisis in Los Angeles in 2025. The aforementioned economic downturn, evidenced by rising unemployment and inflation, is undoubtedly playing a significant role. Economic hardship can drive individuals to desperation, leading to an increase in property crimes such as theft and burglary. The reduction in the size of the LAPD, coupled with the increased response times, suggests that law enforcement resources may be stretched thin, potentially emboldening criminals. Furthermore, changes in state and local criminal justice policies, such as bail reform measures, have been a subject of intense debate, with some critics arguing that they have led to repeat offenders being released back into communities too quickly. The proliferation of homelessness in Los Angeles also presents complex challenges, with individuals experiencing homelessness often being both victims and, in some cases, perpetrators of crime. The lack of adequate mental health services and substance abuse treatment further exacerbates these issues. Social and political polarization may also be contributing to a breakdown in community cohesion and a sense of lawlessness. The rise of online platforms and social media can also play a role in facilitating certain types of criminal activity and amplifying perception of widespread lawlessness. It is crucial to recognize that the crime crisis is a multifaceted problem with no single, simple solution, requiring a comprehensive and collaborative approach to address the underlying causes. Can LA pull back from the brink? Solutions and the road ahead. Addressing the growing crime crisis in Los Angeles requires a multi-pronged strategy that tackles both the immediate symptoms and the underlying causes. Increased investment in law enforcement, including efforts to recruit and retain police officers and improve response times, is crucial. However, simply increasing police presence is not a sustainable long-term solution. Addressing the root causes of crime, such as poverty, unemployment, and lack of educational and economic opportunities, is equally vital. This requires investing in community programs, job training initiatives, and affordable housing, reforming the criminal justice system in a way that balances accountability with rehabilitation is also essential. This can involve exploring alternative sentencing options for nonviolent offenses and investing in reentry programs to reduce recidivism. Expanding access to mental health services and substance abuse treatment is critical in addressing the complex needs of vulnerable populations and reducing crime associated with these issues. Strengthening community engagement and fostering trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve is paramount. This can be achieved through initiatives such as community policing programs and increased transparency. Furthermore, leveraging technology effectively, such as data analytics and predictive policing, while ensuring civil liberties are protected, could aid in crime prevention and resource allocation. The road ahead will be challenging, requiring collaboration between law enforcement, policymakers, community organizations, and residents. However, by implementing comprehensive and data-driven solutions, Los Angeles can strive to reverse the current trend and restore a sense of safety and security for all its residents. The future of the City of Angels hinges on its ability to effectively confront this growing crime crisis and build a safer, more just society for all.